Welcome back to this new edition of News Today. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. India and China exchanged views on early resolution of border issues. India records highest ever growth in value of defense production. United Kingdom elects a new Prime Minister. RBI raises concerns over banks' high credit deposit ratio. SEBI released new guidelines for credit rating agencies. Annual survey of unincorporated sector enterprises results for 2021-22 and 2022-23. In our first news, we are diving into the recent developments between India and China concerning the long-standing border issues. In a significant meeting, the foreign ministers of both nations emphasized that the prolonged military standoff along the line of actual control is not beneficial for either side, highlighting the urgent need for an early resolution. To begin with, India stressed the importance of intensifying efforts to achieve complete disengagement from the remaining areas in eastern Ladakh, aiming to restore peace and tranquility along the border. This issue has been simmering since 2020 when a violent clash between troops erupted in the Pangong Lake area, escalating tensions. Both sides agreed that the working mechanism on consultation and coordination on India-China border affairs should convene an early meeting to address these concerns. This collaborative mechanism plays a crucial role in facilitating communication and coordination on border matters. Now, let's understand the India-China border dispute in more detail. India's 3,488 km border with China is not clearly demarcated, and there is no mutually agreed LAC along certain stretches. The border is divided into three sectors. First, there is Western sector, which is in Ladakh. Here, India considers the Johnson Line as the border, which includes Aksai Chin within Indian territory. In contrast, China recognizes the McCartney-McDonald Line as the border. Next is the middle sector between Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. This sector is largely undisputed, presenting fewer challenges compared to the other sectors. Third is the eastern sector across Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim. The alignment of the LAC in this sector follows the McMahon Line drawn during the 1914 Shimla Convention. However, China rejects this line and claims the entire Arunachal Pradesh as part of the Tibet Autonomous Region. In moving forward, the three mutuals, mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest are essential in guiding the bilateral ties between India and China. These principles are crucial in fostering a constructive and peaceful relationship. In conclusion, the recent discussions between India and China mark a step towards resolving the border issues that have long strained their relations. In our next news, India has recorded its highest ever growth in the value of defense production. That's right, defense production in the country has seen a remarkable 16.8% growth in value compared to the previous year, 2022-23. Let's break down the key highlights. A whopping 79.2% of this growth has been contributed by defense public sector undertakings and other public sector units, while the private sector has chipped in with 20.8%. Since 2019-20, the value of defense production in India has been on a steady rise, growing by over 60%. And here's the exciting part. By 2028-29, annual defense production is expected to reach Rs 3 lakh crore, with defense exports touching Rs 50,000 crore. So what's driving this growth? It's largely thanks to the Defense Production and Export Promotion Policy 2020 and the Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020, which empower the Indian domestic industry through the Make in India initiative. Additionally, the foreign direct investment limit has been raised to 74% through the automatic route and up to 100% under the government route. Initiatives like the Innovation for Defense Excellence Scheme and the Indigenization Portal Srijan are also playing a crucial role. Moreover, the establishment of defense industrial corridors in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu has given a significant boost. However, the road to success is not without its challenges. Bureaucratic inertia often leads to delays in reforms and project deliveries. There's also a lack of technological depth to design and manufacture major systems and critical parts. Scalability issues persist, with current defense exports mainly comprising spare parts and components. Budget constraints and dependency on public sector units add to the hurdles. But there are ways forward. Simplifying regulatory processes and reducing bureaucratic hurdles through a single window system can make a big difference. Promoting public-private partnerships, focusing on quality assurance, standardization, and improving international marketing and branding are also essential steps. Expedite the defense procurement decision-making process to facilitate faster growth and innovation. In conclusion, India's defense production sector is on a promising trajectory with significant growth and ambitious targets.
Ahead in the news, the United Kingdom has elected a new Prime Minister. Similar to India, the UK follows a parliamentary system of democracy. However, there is a key difference. While Parliament is supreme in the UK, in India, parliamentary sovereignty is subject to constitutional supremacy. Let's compare the dimensions of democracy in India and the UK. For the election of the lower house in India, eligible voters are Indian citizens aged 18 or older. Members of the upper house, the Rajya Sabha, are also eligible to vote. In the UK, eligible voters are UK citizens, qualifying citizens of the Commonwealth, or citizens of the Republic of Ireland aged 18 or older. However, members of the upper house, the House of Lords, cannot vote in the UK parliamentary elections. The voting process also differs. In India, voting is done through electronic voting machines, whereas in the UK, voting can be done by postal ballots. Turning to the office of the Prime Minister, in India, the office is established by the Constitution. The Prime Minister can be from either House of Parliament, that is, the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. A non-elected member of Parliament can be appointed as PM for up to 6 months. The President of India appoints the Prime Minister. In the UK, the office is based on convention as the UK does not have a written constitution. The Prime Minister can only be from the lower house, the House of Commons. The Prime Minister must be or about to become an MP. The monarch appoints the Prime Minister, who is also known as the First Lord of Treasury. When it comes to the oath taken by elected members, in India, members of both houses take an oath of allegiance to the Constitution. The forms of oaths or affirmations are provided in the third schedule of the Constitution. In the UK, members of both houses take an oath of allegiance to the Crown based on the Promissory Oaths Act 1868 and the Oaths Act 1978. In conclusion, while both India and the UK share a parliamentary system of democracy, their practices and conventions show notable differences. These variations reflect each country's unique historical and political context, shaping their democratic processes and governance structure.
Ahead, let's delve into a critical issue that the Reserve Bank of India has raised: the high credit deposit ratio of banks. The RBI has urged banks to bridge the gap between credit and deposit growth to reduce this ratio. But what exactly is the CD ratio? The CD ratio is a financial metric that shows the percentage of loans a bank has issued relative to its total deposits. According to the RBI's Financial Stability Report, this ratio has been on the rise since September 2021, peaking at 78.8% in December 2023. Interestingly, over 75% of banks with CD ratios above 75% are private sector banks. So what's the reason behind this high CD ratio? Several key factors contribute to this trend. Firstly, there's been a surge in credit growth, particularly in retail credit, which includes vehicle loans, personal loans, and more. From April 2022 to March 2024, bank lending to the retail sector grew at a compound annual growth rate of 25.2%. Additionally, there's been an increase in loans to businesses and MSMEs. However, the growth in deposits has been slower. Banks are facing stiff competition from each other, and customers are transitioning from savers to investors, diverting funds to capital markets. This shift has slowed deposit growth, further widening the gap between credit and deposits. Now let's discuss the impact of this high CD ratio. Banks with high CD ratio may face several challenges. There's pressure on net interest margins, which is a measure of the net return on the bank's earning assets like investment securities and loans. Liquidity risk is another concern, as banks might struggle to meet payment obligations timely. Lastly, there's the credit risk, where borrowers could default on their contractual obligations. In conclusion, the RBI's concern over the high CD ratio is significant. While the rise in credit growth is a positive sign of economic activity, the slow deposit growth poses risks.
Ahead in the news, the Securities and Exchange Board of India has announced new guidelines for credit rating agencies issued under SEBI Act of 1992 and Regulation 20 of CRAs regulations. These guidelines aim to enhance the ease of doing business for CRAs while protecting investor interests. Key guidelines include the requirement for CRAs to communicate ratings to companies within 1 working day of the rating committee meeting. Companies have 3 working days from the committee meeting to request a review or appeal of the rating decision. Furthermore, CRAs must publish a press release on their website and inform the stock exchange and debenture trustee within 7 working days of the rating committee meeting. Additionally, CRAs are mandated to keep records of these disclosures for 10 years. To give you a bit of more background, credit ratings represent a CRA's opinion on the probability of timely repayment of debt and the likelihood of default on interest and principal payments. According to SEBI, Credit Rating Agency's Regulations of 1999, a CRA is defined as a corporate body involved or proposing to be involved in rating securities that are listed or are to be listed on a SEBI-recognized stock exchange. Currently, there are 7 CRAs registered with SEBI: CRISIL, CARE, ICRA, Equite, Brickwork Rating, India Ratings and Research Private Limited, and Informatics Valuation and Rating Private Limited. It's important to distinguish between a CRA and a credit bureau. While a CRA provides an opinion relating to future debt repayments by borrowers, a credit bureau provides information on past debt repayments by borrowers. In conclusion, these new SEBI guidelines for CRAs are a significant step towards ensuring transparency and reliability in credit ratings, which are crucial for investor confidence and market stability. Ahead in the news, Annual Survey of Unincorporated Sector Enterprises results for 2021-22 and 2022-23 have been released. The survey was conducted by the National Sample Survey Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Annual Survey of Unincorporated Sector Enterprises covered unincorporated, non-agricultural establishments, including proprietorships, partnerships, excluding limited liability partnerships, self-help groups, cooperatives, societies, and trusts. To understand what an unincorporated enterprise is, you should understand that it is essentially a producer unit that is not incorporated as a legal entity separate from its owner. The fixed and other assets used in these enterprises belong to the owners, and the enterprises themselves cannot engage in transactions or contractual relationships nor incur liabilities on their own behalf. Now let's look at the key highlights from the 2022-23 survey. Establishments in their sector grew by 5.88% from 2021-22, reaching a total of 6.50 crore, with about 55% located in rural areas. The highest number of establishments were found in Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, and Maharashtra. The gross value added showed a significant 9.83% increase from the previous year. Women entrepreneurs led 54% of proprietary establishments in the manufacturing sector, showcasing a positive trend in gender participation. There was also a rapid rate of digitization with a 7.2% increase in the use of the internet for entrepreneurial purposes. Furthermore, there was an improvement in credit availability evidenced by an increase in outstanding loans per establishment to Rs 50,138 in 2022-23. The significance of unincorporated enterprises cannot be overstated. They make a pivotal contribution to GDP and employment generation, employing 11 crore workers in 2022-23. They are an integral part of the supply chain, supporting the incorporated sector by acting as suppliers and service providers. However, unincorporated enterprises face several challenges. They often lack access to formal credit and are not always registered, which leaves them with minimum regulatory oversight. This vulnerability makes them susceptible to economic shocks and policy changes. In conclusion, the annual survey of unincorporated sector enterprises results highlight the growth and significance of unincorporated sector enterprises in India's economy while also shedding light on the challenges they face. In today's Placed News, we will talk about the Democratic Republic of Congo with its capital Kinshasa. It is a news as first secretary-level meeting between defense ministries of India and Democratic Republic of Congo has been held. If we talk about its political features, then it is the largest country in sub-Saharan Africa and the second largest in African continent after Algeria. It shares its territorial boundaries with Angola, Burundi, Central African Republic, Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. Furthermore, it shares its maritime boundaries with the Atlantic Ocean. Looking at its geographical features, its major rivers are Congo River, that is the second longest river after the Nile. Its vegetation is of mainly tropical forest. Furthermore, Congo Basin is home to the world's largest tropical peatlands along with Brazil and Indonesia. Talking about its minerals, it has 70% of the world's cobalt, third largest producer of oil in sub-Saharan Africa. It also has gold, coal and iron ore deposits, lithium, etc.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Tayakara Panchayat in Kerala recently published their updated People's Biodiversity Register or PBR. PBR's purpose is to document and safeguard bioresources and associated knowledge. Researchers from the Zoological Survey of India have recorded a new species of forest-dwelling horned frog from Tale Wildlife Sanctuary, Arunachal Pradesh. Discovery adds significantly to India's herpetofaunal diversity. The Ministry of Science and Technology launched the Indo-French Liver and Metabolic Disease Network in collaboration with the Government of France. This network is a joint research program that aims to foster scientific exchanges and enhance joint research projects to tackle health challenges associated with liver and metabolic disorders. Women Entrepreneurship Platform and TransUnion Sibyl has launched Seher program. Seher program is a credit education program which will help women entrepreneurs to access financial tools for business growth with financial literacy content and business skills. Government makes Indian Standards Institution marks mandatory for stainless steel and aluminium kitchen utensils through a quality control order. ISI mark is developed by Bureau of Indian Standards, assuring product quality and safety. Residents of coastal Ernakulam protest the lack of efficient measures towards mitigating coastal erosion and incomplete erection of sea groins. Groins are shore protection structures built perpendicular to the shoreline of coast or river. Abhay Mudra was referred to by the leader of opposition in his speech. Abhay Mudra is the symbol of fearlessness. It is displayed by the fifth Dhyani Buddha, Amogh Siddhi, and posture used by Buddha to tame a mad elephant. President conferred Kirti Chakras and Shaurya Chakras to the personnel of the Armed Forces, Central Armed Police Forces, and State or Union Territory Police. Awards were given for displaying conspicuous gallantry, indomitable courage, and extreme devotion to duty. Before we wrap up today's bulletin, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this edition of News Today. For the solutions to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.